Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm going to be going over the new Dante augment and the build that I have for him. And yeah, so for the Archon shards, these are the shards that I'm running here. You could definitely change these to whatever you'd like. These are not set in stone, these are not um they're not the end all be all, okay? I'm running effectiveness on energy orbs, equilibrium, energy max, and like 2 casting speed shards. If you want to replace any of these, by all means, be my guest. If you want to run 5 Tau Forged Reds here, be my guest, right? You don't have to run these exact same shards. I am stressing this because I know there's going to be one person that's going to go to the comments and go, you should not be running blah blah. It doesn't matter. You can put whatever shards you want to run on him. Okay? You can do that. That's up to you. That is entirely up to you. Okay. Now for the actual Dante build, this is what we're running. Feel free to pause at any point if you need to read what these mods do or anything like that. And yeah. So, a lot of you might have questions about why I'm running Streamline and Energy Nexus and Archon Stretch and his augment. That is because he is a caster frame. And my whole thing when it comes to frames and overguard is that there is 0 point in getting 70,000 overguard on a frame. There is no point besides seeing big number, right? There's no point. If you want to run that, literally you could just run this and that pretty much accomplishes that goal. There's no reason. Now, with that being said, there is a reason to, ensure that you always have the energy available to cast the abilities that you need to cast. For example, if I get into a game with a Dante and we all have 60,000 overguard and we get shot 3 times by, very high level enemies and all that overguard is gone, and we don't get the overguard back because the Dante is sitting there going, oh, I don't have enough energy, I gotta kill enemies and get energy, and then we're all dead. That's a lot worse than consistently having ammo and being able to consistently get the overguard up, right? Because overguard has its own innate shield when it breaks. Also, Dante can be completely immune while casting it. If it were me, I'd much rather have pretty much infinite energy regen for myself and allies, while also ensuring that I can consistently pop the abilities. So that's why I run what I run here. Same thing with Precision Intensify, Transient Fortitude. If you want to replace Transient Fortitude with Blind Rage, you can. I will say, if you do that, there's not really a point of running Streamline. If you're going to do that, you'd put Blind Rage here, and then you would put Fleeting Expertise here. And then you would just keep Arcane Concentration, because that should negate Fleeting Expertise. So, just keep that in mind if you do that. That is if you want to shift to a more strength-focused build, you would do Blind Rage and Fleeting Expertise. And that's going to shift away from duration a bit. You're not going to have, or at least you shouldn't have, as much duration. You'll have about 4% less. Actually, I could just show you. So you do Blind Rage here, and then you do Fleeting Expertise here. Yeah. So you're looking at about a 5% gain in efficiency for, a fairly substantial gain in strength. But again, you don't really need it. Someone was pointing out before how, oh, the strength is kind of low. You need more strength because the Noctua is going to be doing blah blah XYZ. Okay, so strength is going to be affecting area damage here and alternate fire damage. Strength affects overguard and overguard cap, which again we've already gone over why that's not really necessary. It's going to affect the damage on Dark Verse. It's slash damage, so you could just cast this multiple times. And then it, again, overguard. So I fail to see what I'm actually missing out on. This build right here actually is supposed to simulate how much how much of a gain in strength you should have. This puts you pretty close strength-wise to what this build will hit. So the only thing here is I am taking into consideration here that I'm running like 5 Tau Forged Reds. But even then, like, you don't need it. Now for the Noctua build, and the reason why I'm shifting to the Noctua now is just to explain that, like, the Noctua can kill, but it's not really here to kill. It's here to be a source of kind of priming the augment, and then also, killing enemies reduces armor and shields of other enemies. Alternate fire gives 1 energy regen, and then alternate fire increases ability efficiency. Are these necessary? Are these 3 mods right here necessary? God, no. God, no. If you want to put, like, anything else in those slots, absolutely be my guest. Okay? The reason why I stress this is because this is one of those frames where there's 1,000 different ways to mod them. And you can comfortably make a ton of different builds with this frame that all accomplish different things and are still good. So just because my build might not look like your build, and someone else's build might not look like my build, does not mean that any of those builds are necessarily wrong. It just means that they're accomplishing different things. Now, I will say, are these invocations right here overkill? Yes, they are. Because you don't need this, because the augment is currently doing that. So if you want, you could run... Where's the one that gives strength? Sure. Right? Why not? You could do that. It's up to you. Right? It's whatever you feel is necessary for the build that you want. This is just what I run because, personal preference. For the sake of the gameplay, I will show off this so that y'all can at least see how it would look if you had kind of a different mod there. So yeah. Oh, and I need to hover over these real quick. You can pause at any point if you want to read what any of these mods do or the arcane does. This is just a simple enervate build. That's why you don't see any crit chance or anything like that. It's also kind of priming, kind of here to proc Archon Stretch. So, yeah. Without further ado, let's get into the gameplay.